Hi everyone, I'm Dylan Haswell at Trident Search. Welcome to another Trident Talks podcast recording in what is a mini-series talking about AI and the security aspect of AI. Today I'm joined by Zachary Krider, who is the Director of Strategy and AI at Trellix. How are you doing, Zachary?
Doing good. I'm happy to be on here, right? Looking forward to talking about AI and cybersecurity. I know everyone's very interested in this topic.
Absolutely, it's a hot topic right now, but I'm really pleased you could join us on this, and excited to get into it. So, I think it's probably a good place to start with just a little bit about you, your background, and kind of how you've ended up at Trellix, if that's okay.
Yeah. So I'd say my background's a little bit untraditional, right? And how I got security, originally started out trying to be a video game designer, and did that whole course of video game design, engineering, simulation, and just stumbled into security through going through support. Started there, technical support at McAfee, which I'm sure everyone's pretty aware of. What McAfee was, that lasted about 10 months when I realized that wasn't really my jam of being in support, and then really moved over into our services organization of helping customers tackle different cybersecurity concerns or issues that they're having with the McAfee products, how to properly architect those, and then essentially kind of advance more into kind of a CTO of services type role of how can we start leveraging technology to be more efficient within our services organization, but also then how's that play into the bigger picture of the company. And then so Trellix is the forming of FireEye and McAfee. So we came together about 3 years ago now and formed Trellix. So since then, it's just been a very fast-paced journey of really trying to, merge different product technologies and continue to help customers, but also new things pop up like AI, right? Of really changing the game, right? And where to focus and how to focus on products and services and for customers.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds interesting, but I think that's exactly what we're here to discuss in terms of AI and exactly, how it's changing that security landscape. So I guess, how do you see it? I mean, it's obviously an emerging market, but how do you see AI changing that landscape?
Yeah, I think we've all talked about the cybersecurity skill shortage or can't find people for it feels like over 2 decades or since cybersecurity really started, right? No one's ever really solved that problem. And I would say even from a vendor standpoint, every time a vendor came out with a new product, we said, oh, we're going to solve this, but actually caused more issues, right? Because we generated more events or more things people had to kind of go off and tackle. So I think really more from generative AI, over the past 2 years since it really kind of came into public view, I think it's really going to start helping us solve that problem of what are those very mundane, very complex tasks that people get burned out on, or we can't find the right people to manage those for customers. That's where I think the huge opportunity for generative AI in cybersecurity of how customers can leverage it. Obviously, anything on the good side, obviously there's the bad side, right? Of now threat actors are going to use it, right, to try to be more efficient in their attacks. Obviously, lower the bar as well of being able to generate code. So now you can have someone that may not have that much coding experience. They can leverage unlocked AI models to help create malicious attacks, or we're even seeing it in phishing emails, right? Of very legit looking emails coming from CEOs that people are clicking on now, right? So the bad guys are using it with the good guys, but I think at this time, I think it's actually a tool the good guys will be able to come out ahead on, I think, in protecting environments.
Yeah, and I think you've hit the nail on the head just for something you said a moment ago about it being sort of very customer focused. I think the good side of AI is only going to help customers and clients at the end of Trellix, is the other end of Trellix, to right. To be able to stop those threat actors really hitting home. So it's super interesting to hear you say the first thing you said there was customer focus, which has got to be the main focus, right? And with that in mind, I guess it's probably a good idea to kind of ask the question around what are you guys at Trellix trying to fix with AI and security in mind for your customers?
Yeah, so we look at it a couple different ways. One, if you just look at the events that are generated in any environment. So if you think about all the tools that a customer has deployed, each one of those is going to generate maybe 100, 200 events, maybe a day, right? I would say on average, most customers see probably, I would say close to 500,000 or a million events a day if you think about all the different environments from cloud to point products. And if you think that from a human scale, you could go hire 20 or 30 people that are working 24/7 to look at each one of those events, but that's really unrealistic, right? And then, so our approach is how can we leverage a lot of the knowledge that we've gathered over the last 2 decades of doing incident response, threat hunting, investigations, and actually put that into generative AI to where it'll be able to triage those events on behalf of an analyst, right? So you don't have to write a prompt, you don't have to get in a chat bot. Like, we're just going to do this for you and do a full write-up of, hey, this event came in, maybe it was basics for encoded. So we'll decode that, understand what's going on with the script itself, and be able to make a determination, hey, this looks malicious, someone needs to go look at it right now, versus, hey, this is benign or normal activity that you can de-escalate this case and no one should focus on it. So really trying to help customers find that needle in the haystack so they can focus on what's critical. And I would also say too, the other approach, because I think a lot of people get skittish when you talk about AI of it's going to replace humans in that role.
Yeah.
And our approach too, right? We're not trying to replace analysts or anyone in the security space. Like, we're just trying to augment them, right? So if they can be more efficient, today without AI, maybe they're doing like 5 events being able to review in a given day, but pairing them with AI, maybe that now is up to 20 events, right? So they're more efficient, providing more value and ROI back to the business. And so that's really where our focus is how can we take generative AI preemptively, do a lot of the analysis, and help the analysts be able to make quicker decisions and focus on the strategic areas of the business and protect the business.
Yeah, so I think that probably comes down to time, right? It's saving them time from all those little jobs that they have to do in the day, which probably makes up 30-40% of their day. And if you can give that 30-40% back, or at least a big chunk of it, they're then going to be able to concentrate and get their time back on the parts of their day which are most important for them and their security.
Yeah, and that's a valid point. Like, in cybersecurity, like, time's the worst enemy, right? Because we got to respond as fast as possible. But like, as you have more tools coming in, trying to correlate data, maybe it's taking analysts like an hour or 2 hours to like analyze one event, right? And within that 1 hour time period, malicious malware could be spreading throughout the environment, or it could just be a benign false positive that they just spent 2 hours on instead of focusing on something critical. So we can bubble up the really important stuff to them, saying, here's what we already analyzed, decoded the file for you. Here's recommendations of actions you take in the environment. To your point, it helps them be more efficient and make quicker decisions in the environment instead of taking like hour or so to review one event.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess the opportunity that Trellix have here, looking into the future, I know we haven't got a magic ball to be able to see what that looks like, but looking into the future, where do you think we can take this? Where do you think Trellix can, take it going forwards?
Yeah, so the new buzzword I'm sure everyone's getting familiar with is Agentic AI, right? So with AI, there's new buzzwords like every 6 months, it feels like. So Agentic AI and obviously MCP servers, like that's the kind of other new buzzword as well. So really more focused on the Agentic AI, like we focus there of how can we start building agents of, agents that are doing triage of events, that are doing like threat intelligence reviews and pulling reports and scanning the dark web or external vectors and writing up reports telling you what you need to take action on, to all the way down to like an agent saying, hey, we know there's vulnerabilities in the environments, we don't have coverage for it. So here's, a rule like Yara or Snort signature that we will quickly generate and be able to deploy in your environment. So really taking a big advantage of the Agentic AI to really automate a lot of those complex processes and also start stitching together of, you have stuff happening on the network side, on the endpoint side, data and cloud, like have agents that are specialized in each one of those areas, really start correlating, working together to solve those problems or identify areas where customers can respond faster. So Agentic AI is really where we're focused on of how we can, in the future state, right, of how we can automate those tasks to be more efficient and really have a team at your disposal, right, that's already, they know how to do threat intelligence or reviewing the dark web or looking up CVEs, like what's the impact and building rules, building a kind of a team for you that'll work with you to protect your environment. I think that's really where the future's going to go today. Obviously, that'll change next week when something new comes out in Gen AI, but today I would say that's a future state.
Yeah, I mean, I think that probably leads very well into the comment of a lot of people say, you just don't know, do you? You don't know where it's going to go. All those years ago when the internet was first a thing, no one knew exactly what it was going to do, and look where we are today. I think that's very much a very similar a similar thing that's going to happen with AI. You just don't know until we're 20 years in the future, right?
Right, and this space is changing so fast. Like every day, there's new models coming out. There's new approaches. Like I said, Agentic AI, new agentic frameworks that are coming out, new techniques with Agentic AI, like reflection, things of that nature. And then you have the whole MCP stuff that Anthropic's kind of like pioneered, which you're now having broader adoption with other vendors of building their own MCP server. So it changes every day. Like I said, of new architectures, new models, new thoughts of how to tackle some of these things. So yeah, it's very hard to keep up, I would say, a lot of times. And I think a lot of customers feel that of there's so much information coming at them, like left and right about the space of where should they focus their time on, and really trying to articulate that to customers in a product that makes it simple for them to use.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that could potentially be a chat for another time where, actually, is it moving too fast to keep up with, is it going to constantly almost lose itself because it's moving so fast?
Right.
But yeah, it's interesting to hear you say that it is that fast paced, and you're obviously in the eye of the storm as a security company using AI, exactly where your next part of it's going to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Are you finding feedback from customers with that in mind? Is it a topic that happens where they're saying, well, actually, what's going to happen tomorrow?
It comes up a lot, actually. And I would even say from a customer standpoint, not only are they looking at the vendors to bring these solutions to them of how to make their people more efficient, but you have a lot of customers too that are building out their own internal agentic applications that they want their users to interact with, or even their customers. So now the question's coming up too of like, how do we actually protect those to make sure they're secure, not only from like prompt injections on like the front end, but also on the back end, right? Because now when you talk about agentic AI, MCP servers, like now they're touching data in different systems in your environment autonomously without human intervention. So how do you know they should be accessing, HR data, right? Or, if you're asking a question in chatbot, like how can you say or prevent it from saying, hey, show me Zach's salary information, stuff that should be restricted? Like those are big concerns that we're seeing from customers as well of how do we actually protect ourselves and our users? So that's also another area that we've started looking to on the Trellix side is how can we actually protect not only on the front end, but the back end to make sure that these databases that AI is touching or these AI agents are touching, like how do you secure that data, make sure like sensitive data is not being leaked and they have the proper access. So that's the other area I think comes up a lot from customers is how do you actually protect your own deployments?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that's just something that time will tell, right? I mean, we just don't know, but it's exciting to be in that eye of the storm, I'm assuming, being able to know sort of firsthand where these new things are coming.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting and fun to be in, right? Because there's a lot of new things to play with every day, of new things that come out. So it's one, keeping up with everything that's out there, but then how can you articulate that back into a product that makes it meaningful for a customer and not just throwing something out there because it's the buzzword, right? And then a customer gets stuck with, a chat bot or just an agent it's actually adding more work for them instead of helping them, right? And so that's our goal is all this stuff's going on, all this craziness in the eye of the storm. Like, how do we make that stuff usable for end users to make them successful? But yeah, it's definitely a fun space to be in. And like I said, every day's changing, trying to keep up the speed of every article, research paper that comes out with all these different approaches, trying to stay on top of it. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds incredible. And it already sounds like you guys are very much with your finger on the pulse. As hard as that sounds like it is, you are right in that eye of the storm, as I keep saying. So listen, it's been a fantastic conversation today. I've really appreciated your time. I've no doubt we'll be exploring this further in the future. But I just want to say thank you so much for joining us on the Trident Talks podcast again. It's been super interesting hearing your thoughts on security and AI especially. And keep up the good work.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Look forward to maybe doing another one of these later in a couple months when everything's changed again.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be more to talk about then. Brilliant. Thank you, Zachary. Have a great day.